Joyce with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. In the Middle East, the misidentified body of a hostage taken by Palestinian militant group Hamas has rocked an already fragile ceasefire deal in Gaza. Israel is calling the error a cruel and malicious violation and threatening retaliation. In Tel Aviv, the body of an Israeli hostage at the center of controversy arrives for official identification. It's meant to be Shiri Bibas, a mother kidnapped and killed by Palestinian militant group Hamas, along with her two baby boys, Ariel and Kafir, among the most recognizable victims of Hamas's October 7 attack. The Bibas boys were among the bodies handed over by Hamas earlier this week, an exchange part of a January ceasefire deal that was supposed to include their mother. But Israeli specialists say it was not Shiri Bibas. In a statement, Hamas said it was investigating a possible error and overlap in the remains handed to Israel, and affirmed its seriousness and full commitment to its obligations of the ceasefire. Meanwhile, an outpouring of grief in Israel.
That's number one, anger that they killed babies. Second, I don't begin to understand what Hamas was thinking. Did they think we wouldn't figure it out?
It's so painful. So the family has to go and bury them and to make such sort of a closure. And now the mother is missing, and it's so frustrating.
Since mid-January, Hamas has been releasing hostages in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. The latest release, including the Bibas boys, marks the first exchange of dead bodies. Amid the mix-up, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has threatened revenge, stopping short of full details of a possible Israeli response.
These Hamas monsters also cynically refused to bring back the boy's mother, Shiri, and sent the body of a Gazan woman instead, in brazen violation of the agreement.
But the Bibas family is not hoping for revenge, telling their prime minister to just bring Shiri Bibas home.
ראש הממשלה בנימין נתניהו, סליחה לא קיבלנו ממך ברגע הנורא הזה. למען אריאל וכפיר ולמען ירדן, אנחנו לא מבקשים נקמה כעת. אנחנו מבקשים את שירי.
As the final weeks of Israel and Hamas's 42-day ceasefire near, heightened anticipation around more scheduled exchanges of Israeli and Palestinian captives, with families on both sides waiting for the return of their loved ones. Howard Zhang and Joyce Tseng for TaiwanPlus. New images show what appears to be Taiwan's military testing a new anti-ship missile that can be launched from the air. The photos show one of Taiwan's fighter jets equipped with a dummy Shongfeng 3 anti-ship missile. Shongfeng missiles are usually launched from ships or trucks along Taiwan's coast. Neither the Air Force nor the institute developing the missile have confirmed the drills. Taiwan is conducting a number of weapons tests over the next few weeks. Japan's defense minister is heading to the Philippines to boost security ties in light of China's increased military activity in the region. As neighbors of Taiwan, analysts say this is the first meeting motivated by concern over a possible conflict in the region. For more on this, Jaime Ocon spoke to Robert Ward, Director of Geoeconomics and Strategy at the International Institute of Strategic Studies based in London.
I want to first ask about cooperation between Japan and the Philippines. Is this a new kind of relationship?
Japan-Philippines relationship really deepened under Prime Minister Kishida, who obviously has now been replaced by Ishiba Shigeru. But Prime Minister Kishida really understood the strategic importance of the Philippines for Japan's broader diplomatic initiative to try and keep stability in the Pacific. So the trend here is really towards Japan and the Philippines working much more closely together in security terms, both, of course, geographically either side of Taiwan, so both would be involved if there was a contingency in Taiwan as well. And from Japan's point of view, makes absolute sense. Philippines and Japan, both allies of the formal security allies of the US as well. And I think this relationship becomes more important given, of course, the uncertainties of Trump 2, the second Trump's administration's approach towards Asia and its allies.
This meeting between the defense ministers could also pave the way for a new deal on radar systems and intelligence sharing. How significant would that be?
Intelligence sharing across the region is clearly vital, particularly given the size of the sort of growing size of China's military. Not just China, of course, also Russia and North Korea. There's all sorts of other strategic alignments going on that means intelligence sharing is really important, and it's a bit spotty over the region. So from Japan's point of view and from the Philippines' point of view as well, anything that kind of helps to fill those gaps on intelligence sharing is really important strategically, given the need to mobilize if these threats do start to escalate. So I think it's good politically for Japan and the Philippines. It's good diplomatically in terms of defense diplomacy, of course, for Japan and the Philippines, but it also has an actual impact on the ground. I assume that Taiwan would like more direct defense cooperation with some friendly countries around the region, but obviously there are diplomatic reasons why that is still not possible. So this kind of helps.
Besides China, are there any other motivating factors for Japan to be working more closely with other countries in the region?
Well, Japan's perennially been worried about two things with regard to the US. One is abandonment, so the US loses strategic interest in Asia. And the other one is entrapment, so that Japan gets trapped in a US conflict in the region. I think entrapment is now less of a risk, less of a worry for Japan than abandonment. Particularly, obviously, with the second Trump administration, that worry is being intensified. I think in the short term, Japanese concerns will have been allayed to some extent by the good Quad meeting that was had on the sidelines of the inauguration of the second Trump presidency, and also the issue of a Trump summit and the joint statement that came from that, which pretty much ticked, I think, all of Japan's boxes. And with regard to Taiwan, there was a sort of restatement of the desire for stability across the Taiwan Straits.
That was Robert Ward from the International Institute of Strategic Studies in London. Spain has beaten Taiwan at the World Baseball Classic qualifiers in Taipei. Taiwan lost 5-12 to the European team, narrowly avoiding the mercy rule, which kicks in when a team is ahead by 15 runs after 5 innings or 10 runs after the 7th inning. This is Taiwan's first time losing to Spain in 37 years. Despite the setback, the team, which competes as Chinese Taipei, aims to step up in the next game.
那我们会接受这个失败。当然，在整体上，选手他们其实都还蛮全心的投入去想要赢得这场比赛。当然，对方西班牙队这边，其实在整体的一个投打或是手背上面，其实都有不错的一个表现。那当然，对于我们有几次的一个好的攻击，那也被他们的一个手背化解。那当然，觉得是说这一场，结果已经出来了，那我们继续接受它，那赶快去调整心情。
Taiwan will next take on South Africa on Saturday night. Water chestnuts are a staple crop in southern Taiwan, but the recent lifting of building restrictions in one area is threatening the livelihoods of farmers there. Wesley Lewis has more.
This water chestnut farm in Kaohsiung in southern Taiwan was given to Jian Mingshi by his father. Every autumn and winter, he and his family work tirelessly to harvest their crops. In the off-season, Jian works as a car mechanic, which earns him more money than his water chestnuts. But he says the farm has a special place in his heart.
伊每天拢坐伫迄个爆花的边啊，田埂的前面看我采菱角，有无？啊，我卖菱角回去的话，因为我收入已经很好，我钱都给他，他很高兴啊。他说这是我最快乐的一件事情，所以我该接阮爸爸的工作。啊，即摆我看到人家，就是看到阮爸爸的精神。
But the Jian family farm has come under threat. Kaohsiung's Daliao district once boasted over 50 hectares of water chestnut fields. But 2 decades ago, many of these were filled in during the construction of a major highway, and now only around 6 hectares remain. Jian Mingshi's son says development proposals continue to jeopardize the family's livelihood.
爸爸种那么久了，人家一个盖水沟，我们家一小块就要被征收走了。啊，明年说什么？明年会说哦，我要重新土地规划。啊，我这边地要被割一半走。啊，在后年呢，又要盖什么？啊，就没了。
Development in Daliao district was once limited due to the area's proximity to a nearby airport, but local authorities have recently lifted the building restrictions, prompting concern from the local community, who are keen to protect the neighborhood's centuries-old family homes and its unique agricultural history.
但因为现在机场限建也解除了，所以其实就心里难免有一点忧心啦，就觉得说，那我们现在可以记录下一些什么人文啊，或者是说产业，那甚至是古厝这些都还没有被拆迁之前，我们赶快来做记录跟做社区劳动。
Faced with the threat of encroaching development, the Jian family continues to stay put, tending to their water chestnuts on a precious piece of land passed down through generations. Andy Xue and Wesley Lewis for TaiwanPlus.
Pokémon trainers from across the world have journeyed to Taiwan to join a global event hosted in New Taipei. Reese Ayers was among those hoping to catch them all.
Searching far and wide on a mission to be the very best. Thousands of Pokémon trainers have descended on Taiwan, this year playing host to one of Pokémon Go's biggest events. The annual Pokémon Go tour is hosted by a different city each year, and this time it was New Taipei's turn. Some players crossed continents to attend.
So you've travelled all the way from the UK specifically for this event?
Specifically for this event, yeah. We try to go to all the events. So I love the Pokemon community. Just everyone's so friendly. It's a good family game. I always say a family of Pokemon together stay together. So yeah, just really, and it gets me out and about, meeting new people, seeing new places.
Despite some players dropping off after its 2016 debut, Pokémon Go is still going strong, with a global community of players numbering in the millions. More than just a virtual experience, the game brings people together in the real world. And events like these offer folks a chance to meet trainers from all over, trade regionally exclusive Pokémon, and catch some of the most sought-after monsters.
And this is what people are here for, to gain early access to event-exclusive Pokémon, like this shiny Pikachu wearing a hat.
Pokémon Go remains particularly popular in Taiwan, which boasts one of the most active communities in the world.
I can't emphasize enough how important of a market Taiwan is for Niantic and for Pokémon Go. But that comes from having a community, having a country that is, loves our game so much that they can come out and really show what it can be in its perfect form. And that's why Taiwan is the perfect place to do that.
Events of this scale can bring big boosts to the local economy. Pokémon and app developer Niantic often collaborate with local governments in Taiwan, working together to encourage exploration using in-game features.
这10条整个官方的路线里面，其实就包含着新北市的历史文化、美食以及新北市的现代化，可以显现让各位更能够了解新北市的从前以及现在跟未来。
Taiwan's dedicated local scene has received a lot of worldwide attention over the years, like when swarms of players made international headlines back in 2016. And the Pokémon grandpa who went all out to maximize his chances of catching rare spawns. And the game is still uniquely popular among Taiwan's older people.
今年72岁了，住台中，玩宝可梦它5年了，越玩越有兴趣。出来打的都是年纪大的，尤其礼拜六、礼拜天，年轻人都在睡觉，都没看到年轻人在玩。特地来了，我光为这个宝可梦也花不少钱呢。我2张就花了台币车钱还不算哦，2张就花了差不多3000块。
For some, the charm of the game may have died off long ago. But almost 10 years after its release, Pokémon Go is still enjoyed by a sizable global community of dedicated players, willing to travel far and wide, trying to catch them all. John Su, Millie Hughes and Reese Ayers for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. For more, be sure to visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media. Finally, today we take you to Mongolia's capital for the Winter Festival celebrating nomadic culture. I'm Joyce. Take care and see you next time.